Hey guys, this is Daniel,
And Matthew. And
and
we
we
are
are that
that damn
damn brand.
brand.
Okay. Anywho, I'm not too worried about that right now. Today we have our second coming back podcast. I guess we're back. I don't know how that works.
Give me 50 feet.
We're, but we have some what I like to think is interesting stuff to discuss, but you may not. But I guess you're about to find out.
Right.
So, first topic. Rare finally released some footage and the release date for Battletoads. And growing up, I was a big Battletoads fan.
Yep.
I played it on NES. I think I played it. I got to the fourth level 3 times because that little cart level
You
was the
talking about
third
having to
level.
like having to jump across those things and avoid the barriers and whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that level's a bitch.
It is. It is. Like I think the only time I've ever played farther than that was using Game Genie.
I beat it like once or twice, and then like I didn't beat the fourth level because I was already like lost all my shit from that level.
Yeah.
I don't even know how long the game was. I
I
never.
want to say there was like 6 to 8 levels, something
Oh,
like that.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the halfway point.
Right, right.
Okay. So I played that a lot, and then when Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis came out, I actually played Battletoads Double Dragon a lot.
That
So
game was awesome.
that game was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So me and my 3 cousins would normally go to my grandmother's house, and that's how I played PSO and all that stuff with other people. We actually had a version of both games, and we would be playing it in different rooms, like 2 of us over here, 2 of us over there.
Nice.
So that was that, along with like Streets of Rage and Golden Axe, stuff like that.
Classic
Uh,
side scrolling beat 'em ups.
all right, Captain Commando.
Yeah.
So this franchise is very dear to my heart. The arcade version is one of my favorite arcade games of all time.
I've played the arcade version, but not. It's probably the version that I spent the least amount of time with, but I know that that's originally where they had the third one, right? The third Battletoad, or could you play as him in the NES one? I don't remember.
In the NES one, he wasn't playable, but you're going to save him.
Oh, okay, right.
So I loved how bloody the arcade one was, and how you saw the rats in half and stomp them, and blood flies everywhere. Like
Nice.
Pimple's foot would turn into an anvil and just like crush him. And it was, I liked playing as Zit because when you knocked him over, your hand would turn into a drill and you would just drill into him. It
Nice.
was bloody as fuck, and I loved it. So that could lead me to the current Battletoads that we are about to see. The biggest disappointment I saw was the art style and the character design. The first thing that struck to me was Teen Titans Go and Thundercats Roar. If you don't know about what those are, they're
Google it.
yeah, Google it. Pretty much Cartoon Network took franchises that people love and made them silly for kids. That's the best way to put it.
I would agree. I think I described it as kind of like a behemoth kind of art style, and Behemoth is the company behind like Castle Crashers, Alien Hominid, etc. Meets Nickelodeon, because that I kind of reminded me a little bit of like Angry Beavers and that sort of stuff as well. But I think maybe it's a meld of both of our descriptions. It's you
Yeah.
basically just have to watch it for yourself and decide what you think of the art style. You're either going to be really into it or you're just going to be like, meh. I mean, I think the gameplay has the potential to save it, but at least in terms of the way it looks, I'm not really a fan of it.
I agree with you too about that. Like, I was disappointed with how the Queen looks. The Queen looks like
Isn't she like a kid or something?
she looks like a college student that's in science class with pajamas on.
Right.
Like in the original one, she looked like a dominatrix. She was mean as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And then they team up with her for what? And like the bad guy is some like Rainbow Land. Like I
Yeah.
don't fucking know what's going on. Like I said, we haven't played the game yet, but it's like what the fuck?
Yeah, it's definitely a change from what we're used to.
And yeah, that's going to be very drastic. I think the gameplay though does look like Battletoads gameplay. I'm looking at it does look good how the toads transform into different shit and their hands get big and their foot turns into a boot.
Just like classic Battletoads.
So that's cool that they kept that there. I was really hoping they would go more towards the um, arcade version where it was bloody and stuff. And I was really thinking that they would because Rash is in Killer Instinct. So they already have a mature character model.
True.
And then they just like throw this shit out there.
I think they're probably just trying to appeal more to children, but maybe what they could do is how some games like to add shit in down the line. So maybe they'll add like a ability to turn on blood or something, or like a blood only mode or whatever. Like if it's not already in the game and can be unlocked, then maybe it's just something they can add to the game.
I can see them doing like if the base game was all gory and stuff, and maybe like people didn't like let's say if it was like a FPS that's just super bloody and parents hate it, then they would tone it down where there's no dismemberment, there's no blood. I don't see it going the other way.
I mean, you'd be surprised though, because if they you and I grew up on Battletoads, so we're kind of like the installed fan base. Like kids, millennials, whatever, like they may know of it, but they're obviously not as much of a fan of it as we are.
I'm a millennial, so
well, I mean, but you know what I mean, like the people on the younger end of
like Gen Z,
yeah, whatever it's called,
the Zoomers.
Yeah, exactly, whatever. Zoomers is after it because we're recording on Zoom, but anyway. Anyway, the point is that they don't have the nostalgia factor, the installed like fan of the game as we are. So, Microsoft or Rare, whoever, are trying to appeal to the children. That strategy might work out, then again, it might not. And so, if the majority of the people who end up buying the game are people like you and I, on the little bit towards the older side, then maybe they'll figure, well, if our fan base wants to see more violence and more blood, then we can give them what they want as DLC. Like, sure, you got to pay for it, but it's what you want.
I guess I just don't like how they are not staying true to the franchise. Like I know people can see it as a reboot, but why reboot it that drastically? It's just so that you can appeal to nostalgia of people who like grew up with it. But if that's the case, then give us what we want.
Right.
Like I don't know, man. I don't see why do that. Why drastically change established characters like that?
It's like I said, they're probably just trying to appeal to a wider base.
I agree with you, but if that's the case, start a new IP.
True. What? So as you were talking, like
maybe Battle Kids or something, and they're like they're like tadpoles,
fighting frogs instead of Battletoads. Fighting frogs. Yeah, it's catered towards children. But no, when you first were talking about it, I was actually thinking about it. They did something like that in some game, and I'm trying to remember what game it was. It might have actually been Mortal Kombat, where you could like turn it went from blood to sweat.
It was the SNES version. Nintendo didn't want blood on their console, so
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat on this.
Okay.
Yes, I had that version. It's like looks like sweat or dirt or something.
Yeah.
And if you play the Genesis version, it's blood.
Yeah. Because I remember it. So maybe they could do something like that if they decided to add blood in. Like it's like, oh, we made our game more gory, but if you don't like blood, it's just sweat.
Yeah. I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. The arcade game is one of my favorite games of all time. So I know I'm going to miss the dismemberment and the heads flying everywhere.
Right. But it does look pretty cool. Not looks, but like the gameplay seems fun.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's going to be a fun game. I think exactly. Like I think the gameplay is going to stay true to the roots. But yeah, the artistic style, I just don't like.
The thing that gives me pause, and I mentioned this in our Discord, which again, link in the description if you're not already a part of the damnation, join today. But I mentioned this, and what has me a little bit worried is the fact that on the trailer they didn't say online co-op; it said couch co-op, And so
Yeah.
I'm, if they don't have online co-op, then what the hell, like nowadays, pretty much online co-op seems almost mandatory, especially in a game like this, like I get the point of that whole nostalgia factor where there wasn't online co-op, back in the day, like if, as you said, you would go to your grandma's and physically be in the same location, you had to play co-op that way because
Yeah.
that's all there was. But I mean, look at today's world. Pretty much everything's online. So, the fact that there potentially be no online co-ops has me a little worried.
Yeah, I don't understand why that. If that's the case, they haven't said either way, but I kind of am going with you that there probably won't be, because I think when they say couch co-op, they're trying to cover their ass. They're saying we never said online, and that's going to be a huge disappointment, especially with what's going on right now.
Exactly.
Like, that's fucking dumb. If it wasn't initially in your plans, it should be.
Yeah, like take,
Yeah.
a couple months and not necessarily reboot, but like, push the game back, delay it so you can add online co-op.
And it's not like Microsoft doesn't know how to do online co-op.
Exactly.
So I don't understand. If there's an excuse, I don't understand it. And this side-scrolling game, which looks like it's going to be something small. It looks like it'll be like an Xbox Live Arcade game. Remember those?
I do.
And how long has it been in development? What's the excuse? How long is it?
God, dude, I remember hearing. I think they mentioned Battletoads like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like
It's been
it's
a
been a
while.
while. Yeah.
And the fact that it's taking this long to get a side scroller out is kind of. I hope it's good.
I wonder if there have been like a lot of backroom discussions in terms of the things that we're talking about, like the character design and all that. Like, I wonder if maybe they wanted to do more of like a throwback to like the mature style, but then there was internal discussions where like, well, but if we really want the game to sell, we should market it to children because they have a wider consumer base versus the hardcore fans and blah blah blah. Like, I wonder if that's part of what has taken so long, because if they had to change like that drastically from the super hardcore, like really violent arcade style that you like and I would be a fan of too, into what it is now, I could see if they started one way and then suddenly had to shift, that would take a decent amount of development time.
I've read, if I'm remembering correctly, I remember reading or hearing from a YouTube video that Microsoft's plan with Rare is to make them a family-friendly game studio. And looking back at the games they've released, it makes sense. Like, that kind of makes sense, because what was their first game? Grab by Ghoulies?
I think so. Or was it Viva Pinata?
No, Grab by Ghoulies was on the original Xbox.
Are you talking about Rare? Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
it was. It was Grabbed by Ghoulies. Maybe.
And then there was Viva Pinata 1 and 2. The Banjo game. I'm trying to think what else they've done. Oh,
Perfect
Sea of
Dark.
Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
You're right, Perfect Dark, but that would be the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
But
that was one of like a 360 launch title, so maybe that was still kind of while they were shifting over into more of the family friendly.
Because that was supposed to come out on the original Xbox, wasn't it?
I think so.
So that game was in development hell for a long time. So maybe they just put that out because, we have all this time into it. We got to get some money off it.
Yeah. I wish more studios thought that way. Like, there's been so many canceled games where they're just like, this has been in development for years, but fuck it, we're gonna cancel it anyway.
Yeah.
StarCraft Ghost says what's up.
I remember that.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
but anyway,
if that's true, and I don't think that's necessarily bad. I fucking love Viva Pinata. It's one of my favorite games on the 360.
He mentions Viva Pinata, like, I'm trying to think, at least once every couple of months, and I
fucking love that game.
He does. He really does. Yeah.
So I'm not against the kid-friendly stuff. I'm against them taking existing IPs and making them something they're not.
Like if suddenly Killer Instinct decided to be family friendly.
Yeah, like all the characters are Candyland and
play fighting instinct. Pretend instinct.
Even Clay. You remember Clay Fighters?
Clay Fighter, yes.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude! Bad Mr. Frosty, Blue Suede Goo, the opera singer lady. I don't
Helga.
remember her name. Yeah,
Helga.
Helga.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I like the
Yeah,
blob.
the Blob. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess you have anything else on this topic before we go too much down memory
So,
lane?
well, I mean, this is kind of what you wanted anyway. It's just kind of more of a conversation. But
Yeah, yeah.
so I was thinking too about the whole Battletoads thing. I wonder also if there's going to be a resurgence in the calling game stores and calling them up and asking if they have Battletoads. Because it's like that. If you are unaware, and I know you know, but if for
Yeah.
those of you who are watching are unaware, there was a point in time where it was like the hip, like 4chan type thing to do, where you would call up a GameStop or like maybe a small mom and pop store and ask them if they had Battletoads. I don't ask me where it came up. Like I assume it originated on 4chan because all this weird, crazy shit usually does. But yeah, it would like the thing to do would be to call up one of these stores, ask if they had Battletoads, and if not, then you would troll them. Or if they did, then hey, go in and get Battletoads if you really wanted it.
That game's fucking expensive if you can find it.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But see, if it comes out as a physical release, then yeah, I can probably see people calling up and hey, do you have Battletoads? But like not necessarily trolling, like legitimately, hey, do you have Battletoads? I want to go in and purchase it. But if it
I'm
comes
pretty
out
sure.
digitally, then it'll be more of a trolling thing because it's like, hey, I have Battletoads at home, but I'm gonna call GameStop.
But I'm pretty sure it's going to come with one of those scratch cards where you can, like, you buy the code, so you
It's
can give them
inside
as a
it.
gift.
Yeah, it's inside of a plastic box, but then you open it and it just has like the paper that you scratch off the
Yeah,
code.
that or just like those little cards that are all on the wall, like the gift
Oh yeah,
cards.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they may be like, yeah, we have it, and it's 10.99. You're like, oh, okay.
Like, my fun is ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Anyway, that's the only other thing I could think of about Battletoads. But
it'll be a part of Game Pass, and we might have to look into it because we can try Parsec. I've never done Parsec, but I've heard it's actually really good.
Parsec.
Yeah, it's this software that like allows you to play couch co-op PC games across the internet.
Oh yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
that'd be I've always wanted to check that out, and I've actually heard it's gotten really good. So
I mean, obviously the only issue with that is latency.
right.
But if it's gotten really good and people want to see it, we'll give it a shot anyway. Fuck it.
Hell, I'm gonna play Battletoads.
I want to play Battletoads too.
Yeah. Fuck the people. I want Battletoads.
It's like maybe I'm wrong about this. No, it's the children who are wrong.
Yeah.
Fuck those children. uh, anyway,
All right. So next topic. We'll start with 343 or Xbox.
just in case I want to get censored.
They won't censor you for that.
Anyway,
343 or Xbox or both have confirmed Halo Infinite's multiplayer will be free to play, 120 frames, which I think it's at 1080p, but I don't think they said a resolution when they said 120p. I mean, at 120 frames.
I saw something about 4K, but that can't be for everyone. There's no way.
I don't see unless they do some voodoo magic on that thing, I don't see that graphical power doing 4.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
4K,
Like I don't know
120.
what it specifically was, but yeah, could you
Unless the
imagine?
graphics that they're showing now are legitimately the graphics, then yeah, maybe. Anywho,
Yeah.
I guess I'm more concerned about I'm more interested in the free to pay thing than the 120 frames. I think the 120 frames is awesome. I think a lot of console gamers, no insult to them, but to the ones listening to us probably know, but most people who just go out and buy it don't know. You need a TV that does 120, and most TVs do 60. So a lot of people are probably going to be buying into the hype and thinking they have 120 frames when they don't. But anywho, that's a different story. The free to play aspect of it, I guess I want to get your take on it because I have really strong opinions on this one. I don't know if your opinions are as strong.
Well, so I think it's a good idea just because that seems to be the trend these days. Like pretty much started with Fortnite, I would imagine, because of the whole like Fortnite. So We've discussed this in previous podcasts, but for those of you that don't know, Daniel and I actually purchased Fortnite before there was even a battle royale mode because we just wanted to try the co-op, like, save the world mode. And so we actually had Fortnite before it fucking became this huge, massive global phenomenon because of the battle royale mode that they ripped off from PUBG. Anyway, my point being that games like Fortnite that are free to play, they make all their money off of like skins and battle passes and microtransactions, essentially that sort of thing. And so that started a trend where all these other games coming out, Apex Legends, COD, whatever, like all and granted they are battle royale games, but the free to play genre has existed for a while. It just seems like it's kind of exploded because I mean, look at Warframe. Like I played Warframe in fucking, when was that? 2013. It's been like 7 fucking years. I love Warframe. Have I spent money on the game? Yes, absolutely. Even though it is free to play, I spent money on it because I respect the developers because of the amount of content that they've added to the game and the amount of improvements and changes that they've made. And they've just turned kind of like this small, almost indie-like game into like this massive AAA project because of people like me that have stayed around and supported the game. And so with Halo, starting out as free to play, I feel like it's good because it will get more people invested. I mean, granted, there's a huge like existing fan base for Halo, but the fact that it's free just means more people will check it out. Maybe people that were going to skip on it originally because they're like $60 for a game, that sucks, I don't want to do that. But if it's fucking free, they're like, why not? Even if they only jump in and play for a couple of hours, like that's those couple of hours that the developer wouldn't have had with those people before. So I think, or at least as a starting off point, it's good, but I could see where it would go off the rails. And so what do you think?
So I think it's a smart idea, especially when you have AAA developers like Activision doing it with COD. It's the way of the future, and I think it's smart for marketing because as you said, so everyone Halo has such a cult fan. It's not even cult; it has a fan base, and with them people buying, if they buy the Xbox, even like let's say the rumored cheaper Xbox comes out, they may just buy the cheaper Xbox to play Halo if they don't want to go all in on the more expensive one. I'm curious to see how they're going to do the microtransactions, if it's going to be skins or stuff. Because I haven't played Halo 5 because it never came on a PC and I never got an Xbox One. But I saw that they had skins for guns in that, which, was never really done in Halo before that. I guess 4 kind of did, but not really. Like there was like 3 or 4 skins. It wasn't like pizza skins like you see in, like I'm not even lying about that. There's a pizza assault rifle skin.
In
In
Halo?
In Halo 5.
Oh god, I thought you were talking about Fortnite for a second, but yeah, holy shit, Halo, wow.
Yeah, like so they went on down that road. But then you also have the Halo Wars stuff that they've done where Halo Wars was pay to win. So I would like to think that they're going to keep it more where it's just cosmetics and they would get a lot of shit if it was pay to win.
Yeah, they would. But so just to, I don't want to derail you too much, but wasn't Halo Wars made by technically a different developer and just published by Microsoft?
Yeah, well, I heard Halo Wars was good. I don't who made Halo Wars 2 because Halo Wars 2 is the one that everyone said was pay to win. They said 1 was really good, but
the
2
developers,
was
but I think it was the people behind like Age of Empires 2 or
yeah,
something like that.
because I remember hearing a lot of things that apparently Bungie didn't like them because they felt that they were stealing their franchise.
I mean, yeah, if it's some shit that you created and then suddenly a different team is making a game based off the shit that you created, like how would that make you feel?
Yeah, but Microsoft wanted to do that. So yeah, I heard that the Age of Empires people had a lot of conflict with the Bungie people because the Bungie people did not like it. But anywho, I think it's good to draw people in. I think it may get some people interested in the story, and since it's going to be a reboot, it may lead to people purchasing the single player game just because they're going to become interested in the lore of the franchise. So again, microtransactions, Microsoft does not have a good track record, in my opinion. And bring up Gears. I fucking hated Horde because all your power-ups were done through loot boxes. You just had to grind for loot boxes or buy them, which, was obviously the easier way, but It was purposely designed to be shitty. So I I don't know how that's going to be. I'm really thankful that I wasn't really interested in the multiplayer to begin with. I have Master Chief Collection. That's all I really need. If Infinite multiplayer is good, then I'll play it. But it sounds like it's going to be more of a continuation of 5, and which was a continuation of 4 in terms of all the powers and stuff. So I really don't care about that. I can see a lot of people getting upset with some sort of wall, like paywalls, where you won't need it, but it's going to be so frustrating that it'll push people to do it, like in Gears. Because we used to play Horde all the time, where we would play every single map on, I think the top difficulty is Insane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like on 2 and 3, I think we every map on Insane. In 5, I didn't fucking touch it. We played like once or twice, and I'm like, I'm not grinding through all this shit. This is the class I want to play. I can't power up because I'm getting fucking random bullshit over here. Like, it's fucking stupid, and I'm not gonna waste my time just grinding out random shit. And if that's the way Halo is, I'm not gonna waste my fucking time doing that either.
Yeah, like, I think the whole like horde stupidness in Gear started in 4.
It did.
Was
I
what
think
they started adding the cards and all that, and how you had to use the scrap to make extra cards or whatever. You had to use scrap, which you got from destroying extra cards to create the cards you want, and like
right. It was
it's
it
just-
was pretty much a currency system where if you get garbage, you can get a little bit back, but it just was dumb.
it was convoluted, I think, and it was really dumb because, like you said, if you wanted to play the sniper class, but like through the randomness of the loot boxes or whatever, you were getting all sorts of cards for like engineer, then your engineer powers would be powered up, and your sniper would be fucked. And you're like, well, I really wanted to play sniper, but I guess I should play engineer because I have all the good cards.
And that progression is what lets you get to play the more difficult difficulties.
Exactly.
So,
Like, you can't, if you're gonna try to run like a level 0 sniper in like a insane horde map with a bunch of other players who are all powered up, they're gonna start deriding you and calling
I'd be like,
names.
why
Like,
the fuck are you here?
exactly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it kind of is like makes you not want to play the game, or at least that game mode.
So yeah, like I didn't touch Horde after that. I wasn't about the grind, and I kind of feel like Halo might do the same. I'm hoping it's only cosmetics, but I don't know because
So I think might have been, it was either 4 or 5, but I remember walking past, I was at my nephew's house, and he was playing one of those Halos, either 4 or 5. I remember he opened a loot box and he got a fucking a tank or something, and I'm like, what do you mean you got a tank? He's like, yeah, I can call this into multiplayer now. I'm like, what? So like they were legitimately selling power-ups. Like,
that's like the 5. That's like that Warzone one where like multiple teams are. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, the fact that you have to basically essentially pay to be able to call in a Phantom or a Banshee, or
which is pay to win.
Exactly.
In a $60 title.
Exactly.
That's why I have no faith in them. Like, I want to play the story, and I'll play the multiplayer if it's good, but if not, I have the Master Chief Collection. I can go play Reach. I can armor lock some fools. I'm happy with that.
Can go and win some invasion matches by just happen to have the right loadout.
Yeah, armor lock shotgun, just back and forth. Like, okay, your turn. Armor lock. Okay, my turn.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Classic.
So, the ball's in their court. Obviously, they can do some amazing things with Halo if they choose to. I just don't know if they're going to choose to, and they don't have the track record of choosing to.
I'm wondering how the grappling hook is going to work in multiplayer, if it's like a power specifically, like how the bubble shield or armor lock or sprint, you know what I mean? Because like if everyone has fucking grappling hooks, that's like one of the things that I'm pretty sure you and I have discussed over the years about Halo is like being tactical, like crouching, sneaking around corners, and getting up to vantage points and that sort of thing. But if you're being all badass and then somebody can just fucking grapple hook up to you and then come from behind you and melee you, like that defeats the whole purpose of it, doesn't it?
So the grappling hook is, which you actually do see on the video, if you look a little bit closer, it is an equipment and every time you use it, it's consumed. So you only have so many
Ah,
grapples.
but
So
still, for so if that's something they have in multiplayer where you can just everyone can just grapple hook around. Like I don't know, I
I'm
feel like
guessing
that
it's going to be
couldn't.
on the map the way the bubble was or whatever, and it only responds so often. So if you get a sniper and you get the grappling hook, you can get an advantage point.
That's actually then you're basically Widowmaker.
Yeah. Pretty much. They probably took it
Fucking
from
a.
Overwatch. They're probably Overwatch fans.
Oh shit, dude. That's fucking hilarious. The
Yeah.
next character in Overwatch 2, special appearance by Master Chief. Can you imagine? Or you know what they would if they decided they wanted a crossover, fucking make a skin for like Soldier where he looks like Master Chief.
They need a Ryan shield that you just like walk forward with.
Fucking bubble shield.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But
Oh, we can talk about that too. Or did we mention that in the last one about the Overwatch 2
no, we
fake
didn't.
server?
Well, okay, yeah, let's talk about that. But I do want to talk about the response to
Okay, so continue on
the
Halo for a
shitty
minute.
graphics. Okay, so I guess the 343 responded about how their graphics are shitty, and they pretty much had two responses. One I thought was pretty weak. The other response I liked. Now, the first one was that they are going, which is the one I think is a weak response, was that they're going towards a more classic art style, which I did see. The art style was kind of classic, and you're not going to see the same types of visuals, but you're just not. You'll see detail, just not the same clutter, is what they kind of alluded to. Which I didn't see any detail in there, but like I respect the going to the old art style, and yeah, the old art style was a little bit more basic, so you will have um a little, I guess, not as rigid stuff. It was more rounded, if I remember correctly, like the Halo 1 stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can't have detail on the old art style. Like I don't get how those two conflict. Like yeah, I know it won't be as detailed in terms of like gritty or something like that. I guess it'll be a different type of detailing, but I don't see how it stops it from being detailed in general.
It sounds like it's just an excuse, honestly. But
So the next one was, and I did like this response, was they were talking about videos that actually critically broke down what was wrong with the visuals. And they were talking about how when the different character models were outside of light, inside of light, you can see like when they're in a shadow, they lose the little detailing they did have. And it looks very plastic and it just doesn't look good. And they did address that. They said that they agree with that, and that's the changes that they're going to look into. I like that they admitted that they were wrong about that. I like because that shows that they are willing to change it. Now, if they get to change it, that's a different story. But at least shows a willingness. It sucks that it took YouTube videos breaking down what's wrong with their shit to cause them to change it. So I'm already not confident that the changes are going to be like adequate.
right.
Because if that's their idea of adequacy, then you know, I don't know. That's kind of my take on it. I'm cautiously optimistic because they recognize it's a problem, but they should have recognized there was a problem before it was pointed out.
Right. Um and I sent this to you in a PM or whatever, but like they also said that the graphics are expected to improve day by day or basically keep continuously improving until the game's release. But like, yeah, it's how do they not think that that was that's some shit that they could get away with? Like, hey, let's just send this out. Don't worry, no one will notice. Like, it's fine. You don't have any graphic snobs out there. You don't have any graphics wars who just analyze every single pixel and well, that's not anti-aliased and that doesn't have FX bloom and this kind of shit. Like, there's people out there that specifically look for these things. Like, I don't know what the hell they were thinking trying to get away with that.
I don't either. And when your marketing is that you're more powerful than the PlayStation, which they are by specs, if your games don't like show that, then what's the fucking point?
So it's kind of like, like if you and I have a computer that's built similarly, but I overclock mine and I set it to be the most efficient, and then yours, is technically has stronger specs, but you're not utilizing it effectively. I can get mine to look better and stuff, even though yours is technically more powerful. So
I guess.
I mean, that's what I think. Like, because it's like, let's say Microsoft, is technically stronger, but they're not utilizing to their full potential, and
Right.
PlayStation is weaker, but they're able to make it look better. Like,
They're just being lazy. Like they're
yeah.
not. Yeah. I agree with that. Like, yeah, if you have a more powerful console and you're not utilizing it, then what's the fucking point? I'd rather have the one that's utilizing more of its specs. So yeah, I
Unless, and this actually is something about it came up recently on Twitter. The somebody posted a picture of the original Red Ring of Death and was like, what is this? Wrong answers only. And I was like, this was the original Rage meme. This is what this was. Like, that shit used to piss me off, the freaking Red Ring of Death. And so what if, the new Xbox is intentionally not using all of its potential because it doesn't want to overheat?
they would have made a smaller GPU or AP the chip on there like has all the cores. They would have cut down the cores so that they would just have less power and they would pay less because you wouldn't make it's a custom chip just for them. They're the only ones using it, so you wouldn't make something that you're just going to be like turn it off.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, but that is they're on that. I guess we're done with the Halo thing. But on the APU, unless you have something else to say? No. Okay, so on the APU thing, there's a rumor that both the Xbox and the PlayStation are actually going to get a last minute graphical power boost
Really?
because they're having better yields on their chips than they thought they were. So I don't know the exact amount of cores or CUs they have, computing units, but like let's say you produce something that's 40 CUs, which I think is around what they're doing, and then your goal is 36. So anything that has 36 working computing units is valid. So what they do is like let's say you produce a 40 or a 39 CU, they turn off the extra ones, so it's 39. So all Xboxes have the same power. The yields are coming out better, so they may bump it up to like 38. Get a little extra cores in there because they can do that and still get a good success rate. So it sounds like both the Xbox and the PlayStation may be getting a sneaky power boost.
I mean, that's only good for consumers, like
Yeah, it's
people that are
great.
going to be purchasing the consoles. It's like you're not quite PC Master Race, but you're getting close.
Those consoles are pretty damn close to mid-range PC. Like I'd say once they come out, that their PC is actually holding up the consoles at that point because of disk drives, and you don't know if everyone has hyperthreading on their CPUs. But I could go deeper into that, but I'll save that for another time. I'm
Maybe
actually
a D domain just on that.
I'm actually really excited about the new consoles because of how it can change development of the games and how much more fluid the games are going to get and how much more vast the games are going to get because they have technology that they can finally utilize. Where on the PC, we take it for granted and we're like, haha, faster loading times. But now those faster loading times are actually going to be put into game development and not just
because our
sitting at the
PCs are
screen.
powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's going to be cool. I'm really excited of seeing the technology actually being utilized.
It'd be funny if one day the whole current, so I assume everyone who's watching this is some sort of gamer and some sort of, knowledge of how kind of like development for PC and consoles work. Usually if a game's gonna be on PC and consoles, they develop for PC and then kind of like dumb it down, port it to the consoles. But I'm thinking with if the consoles continuously get more powerful, like I wonder if one day if the PC is actually going to be the lower bar. You know what I mean?
No,
Because go ahead.
it is. This time around, it will be because the new consoles have the NVMe 4.0 drives, which SATA drives can't keep up with at all. So if they're developing with console or with PC in mind, then they have to develop around a SATA drive and not an NVMe, which like how you saw with Ratchet and Clank, where all that stuff is just loading in and out at all times. You can't do that on PCs right now because not everyone has an NVMe drive. Hell, just a few months ago, people said don't buy NVMe drives for gaming because it doesn't use them because consoles were the backbone, or not back, were the lower domination, where SATA was the only thing, which is why a SATA SSD, you just load it faster, but nothing around the game design actually changed. Well, now since the consoles have those, the game design itself is going to change, and the PlayStation is going to be leading that, which I'm really excited to see. And from what I've heard, for PCs to catch up to what the PlayStation SSD can do, because the PlayStation SSD is a custom SSD with multi-level controls on it, where PC only has 2 levels. PS5 is going to have 5. For PC to catch up to that, the graphics card has to have 16 gigs of VRAM, and the PC itself has to have 32 gigs of RAM. So essentially, it's just loading the whole game into RAM.
Jesus Christ.
Just to keep up with the PlayStation, which I have no problem brute forcing it like that. But I'm really excited to see what kind of games are going to come up in the next few years.
I mean, I've got the 32 gigs of RAM.
I only have 16, but another 16's only going to be like $100. I'll be good.
Yeah, now I just need the graphics card and then I'll have a PS5.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
So I'm really excited about that stuff. We can go on to Nintendo leaks. So you seem more knowledgeable about these. So why don't you lead on this one?
So apparently, where all huge leaks tend to originate, 4chan. Somebody leaked a whole bunch of shit onto 4chan. Basically, it's being called the Gigaleak, the Nintendo Gigaleak, because there's like gigs and gigs of data that people have. I assume they acquired it via illegal means, since Nintendo did not mean for any of this to get out. But basically, it's a lot of unreleased stuff from just various Nintendo projects over the years, like NES games, SNES games, N64 games. It turns out one of the huge things is Luigi was in Mario 64 the entire time. Like, he was not actually playable. I mean, there were all these rumors about how you had to do certain things in a certain order and you can unlock him to play as him, but his sprites were in fact in the game, and modders have actually managed to basically put him back into the game. Like, if you go online and look around, you can find a ROM hack basically where people have inserted Luigi into Mario 64, the working character model that actually blinks, and I think he has a voice line or two. But yeah, it's crazy to think that all these rumors and stuff were technically true, that Luigi was in Mario 64 after all this time.
That's cool. I've always liked Luigi ever since the original Super Mario Bros. When Luigi and Mario were literally the same. And I'm actually upset with Nintendo for what they have done to Luigi.
Which is what?
Made him a little bitch. Like, it's horrible. Like, he's like the butt of every joke. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know, man. Luigi was kind of cool in Smash. He had that little like poke thing where he could like super send you down, and Luigi was kind of cool. And then he got his own series of games, Luigi's Mansion, which are all critically acclaimed. I've never played them, but people love Luigi's Mansion games.
I played 1 and 3. I love 1. I thought 3 was good. I forgot, but he's still a coward in that game.
Like I said, I've never played them, but.
Well, he plays to the whole like Mario's the brave superhero and Luigi's the coward. That's like, yeah, his little like whatever he does. Yeah, I don't like that they did that to him, and he should be like one of the Super Mario brothers. It should be a duo, Not like Mario and his cowardly brother.
Well, like along with the whole Gigaleaks thing, because basically there's so much data that new stuff is coming out every single day. Like people are finding more and more
Oh, so
shit.
it's still going on?
Yes, people are still combing through the files, like finding shits. That's why I've been sharing it with you as I come across them, is because I'm like, hey, this happened and this happened, and so like they're still discovering more stuff about it. Like originally, the thing about Luigi, they just said that they had his sprites and they put him back into the game, but also they looked through more of the Super Mario's or Mario 64 files and found sprites for like 2 players. So they're thinking that maybe at one point it's supposed to be co-op. That would be crazy.
That
Like,
would be cool, but I guess it didn't work because like the cannons and stuff like that. I don't know.
yeah, maybe they would have had a split screen, but still, there's just so. If you've ever played Super Mario 64, there's so
Oh
much
yeah,
shit going on. No, I mean
yeah.
more so
Oh,
like, yeah, there's just so much shit going on that like for to try to get fit 2 players on one screen would just be redonkulous.
I can see it not working with the level design and stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and so I mean, there's just different leaks that are coming out. There's also the F-Zero X was one of my favorite N64 games because I was a huge fan of F-Zero on the Super Nintendo. And apparently, there's a sprite for Beavis from Beavis and Butthead in F-Zero X for some fucking reason. Who knows? But it was there. Somebody found it. And there was a prototype game called Super Donkey that looked kind of like Rayman and Mario World
Yeah, that
combined.
looked weird. I thought
It
the guy looked like a
was,
potato.
yeah, it's interesting. There's been a lot of interesting stuff. Did you want to mention the
Yeah, this. So I don't know, but I don't know where that's from. Like, what is it?
it's just some kind of
I just saw the
like
hotel.
art pieces for some kind of something, like just maybe it was a promo material or maybe it's for an unreleased game or something. But
Yeah, there was a picture of like the side of a hotel where everyone's in a different balcony of the room, and Toad is legitimately smoking a cigarette. Like that is, I don't think it's up for interpretation. The dude's smoking.
I I don't know. Like, I mean, we'll see if we can link to it in the description or what have you. But basically, like, it's a sprite from an image that's probably like 20 to 30 years old, and it could be argued that that Toad is smoking on the balcony. Uh, I still think it could be something else that just looks like that, but as I said, people are still combing through these files and finding new things. There was
I think
like
this is cool.
there's unreleased like Star Fox sprites, and apparently I think it was either Star Fox 2. I think it was Star Fox 2. Where there was supposed to be a female pilot that was like a black female character. But there were sprites for her, nothing else, just like 1 or 2 sprites. But like people, there's this one article on or one writer on Kotaku who's freaking out. She's like, I'm in love with this character, and it would have been like the first time a black female had been the lead in a game or something. Well, I mean, we don't even know if she would have been the lead because the game's
Star
called Star
Fox is a
Fox.
furry universe. Keep people out of it.
No more humans.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, like it's just really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they come up with because every day is just something new, and so
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know it's still going on. I think that kind of stuff's interesting to see what could have been. It's cool to see what could have been. Not something I'm like hanging on my chair for, but it's cool to like see smoking toads.
I just think it's cool that the whole rumor about Luigi being in Mario 64 was actually true. Like he was technically in the game. I mean, sure, it's not like you can pull out your cartridge and then unlock him, but the fact that people managed to find the sprites, and hack him basically into the game, and where you could play as Luigi is pretty fucking cool, I think. And so there could be more stuff in there that's either going to be like maybe there'll be some damning information in there, or maybe there'll just be more interesting things. Like one of the things that it didn't seem that interesting at first, but the more I looked at it was for Yoshi's Island, I think, where they had like the 2 pixel black bars drawn around everything, like the clouds and the island itself and all that. It had the alternate sprites where it was only 1 pixel black, and it just looks so fucking weird. Like, just weird.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to think like what could have been versus what we got.
No, yeah, I definitely like seeing that stuff. It's a cool little I guess, Easter egg for fans.
Yeah, and the fact that at first people were like, well, maybe somebody made all this bullshit up, like maybe like clever Photoshop artists or whatever. But the fact that people started tweeting about it, and then the original developer, like the Star Fox one in particular, the developer came out and said, "Hey, that's a tool that I designed specifically for Star Fox, so I know that this is legitimate." And so like that's how a lot of this stuff is real, because like anybody could make it up, but the fact that people that were involved said, yeah, this is legitimate and I don't know how you got it, it's just,
That's what
it's
I'm more
crazy.
curious than anything else is how they got it, and like if there'll be any legal ramifications. Not that this stuff is even relevant this many years. Like it's not, but Nintendo is very
Lawsuit heavy.
protective of their IPs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can still definitely see them going after whoever did this.
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. Like maybe it'll turn into like a WikiLeaks type situation or whatever, where whoever is responsible ends up fleeing the country, or maybe
Getting
they already
assassinated.
yeah, or maybe they just live in another country or whatever, so they're not like able to be extradited or what have you. But I don't know.
Yeah, well,
We'll
it's
see.
the Russians.
It's always the Russians.
So there was one topic that you did want to bring up, but we swapped over to finish up Halo. Do you remember what that
Oh, you're
was?
talking about Overwatch?
Yeah, Overwatch.
Well, you can talk about it because you're more up on that than I am.
I actually don't know anything about this other than the date,
Oh,
because
well,
no one's
that
been.
works.
Uh, so it's more than Overwatch. It's actually a bunch of games. They have leaked out, which is not confirmed by Sony yet. So I don't know if it's true because it's only 4 days away if it is. But according to this leak, on August 6th, which today is August 2nd, so 4 days from now, there's going to be a surprise type Sony announcement concept. Not, what do you call it? Like
Presentation,
presentation. Yeah,
conference,
presentation. Kind of like what they did with kind of like what Xbox just did.
the
So
Xbox
yeah,
showcase or whatever.
Yeah, so a PlayStation showcase, and Overwatch 2's single player or campaign is supposed to be shown off there, and it looked like it was a 2 minute. If I remember, it was like 2 minute 30-second trailer. I don't know if it's gonna be gameplay or if it's just gonna be another cinematic. I like their cinematics, so I wouldn't be too disappointed with that. But it's a lot more than just Overwatch. The new Call of Duty is supposed to be announced. The new multiplayer for Call of Duty is supposed to be announced. And there's just a whole list of games on there. Maybe I can find it and put it on the screen. The YouTube video that I saw that was talking about it actually said that it looks to be true, because the way the list of games is there, particularly the Activision games, when the Activision games in the time slot, it's like Call of Duty multiplayer, Call of Duty campaign, Overwatch 2 campaign, because they were saying internally that's how Activision treats their games. They treat each, I guess, the multiplayer versus the campaign as different games, even though they come in the same package. So it just lines up with how the company itself thinks. Considering it's 4 days away and we haven't heard anything about it, I don't know. I'm probably going to lean towards it was fake, but who knows? Maybe they'll come out with a surprise announcement on Monday. Okay, I think if they don't announce it by tomorrow, the 3rd, then it's not happening.
Well, I mean, like, isn't there a precedent for that kind of thing? Not necessarily from Sony, but hasn't Nintendo done like, day of Nintendo Directs? They're like, hey, by the way, in 2 hours, we're going to start showing shit.
I actually am not too familiar with their directs. I always hear about them after they happen.
Or like mini directs. I'm pretty sure they're just like kind of what you're just talking about, like little
Well, no,
showcases for games and all that. But they
I
just
agree.
announce it
Yeah.
like the day of and an hour or 2 hours beforehand. Like, hey, at this time we're gonna be showing some stuff. So come join
Yeah,
us.
I don't know that. Like, if that's true, then Sony could definitely be copying Nintendo, because Nintendo was the first to start doing this, and then everyone jumped on board. So if if it's true about Nintendo, then yeah, I could buy it that Sony would jump on board, because Sony did start doing that after they saw Nintendo's were successful.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
we'll obviously see what happens. But I've been wanting to hear more about Overwatch 2. I haven't really been super into Overwatch for a while. Like I know you still play it pretty regularly and you're
Yep.
up on the meta and everything, but like I think I'm once they announced Overwatch 2, like my level kind of fell off a bit because I'm like, well, I just want to kind of see what the new one's going to be all about. So I'm kind of looking forward to hearing more and seeing more. So I hope that it is legit. I could care less about Call of Duty, but
Yeah, same. It looks like that's going to be the highlight of the show, though. Yeah. I think what I've seen from Overwatch 2. I've seen some leaks. I've seen some ability leaks, and the build. It's cool how you can build out your character. It's interesting to see how maybe from since I play the game a lot to see how they're changing the abilities from uh, more balanced competitive abilities. Well, I wouldn't even call the game balanced, but from some more kind of trying to be balanced competitive abilities to just overpowered abilities. Like Anna's, for instance, Anna has a mod to her sleep dart where the enemies permanently slept. Obviously, if you hit
fucking
them, they
Rip
wake
Van
up, but
Winkle.
you can just boom and leave them there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hanzo has this uh, one where his sonic arrow, how it exposes all the people, then he follows it up with a different arrow, and the arrow ricochets and hits them all.
Oh
Everyone that he
damn,
marked with a sonic arrow.
damn.
So it's very PvP, very build your own character. I think it's going to be cool. I think it looks really legit. Tracer has this one where she uses her pulse bomb. The enemy she blows up, and then each one after that blows up. So it's like a chain reaction.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Nice.
They want to do it like Diablo, where they do seasons. I don't know if I can get into it that much, but
I
I
mean,
can
you
see.
say that, but like, you play Overwatch so fucking much, like it wouldn't
Yeah, but
surprise me.
I play the competitive aspect for it.
I
Like I can't
mean,
see myself doing that in a single player game where
well, but what
against
if
AI.
like, what if you earn things towards the competitive part of it by playing the single player, like skins or emotes or voice lines, all the shit that you can unlock now via the loot boxes. What if they're trying to do away with loot boxes and they make it to where you actually have to like unlock it by playing the seasons or what have you?
If there was exclusive stuff for that, I can see myself pursuing it. If it's, I don't see them getting rid of loot boxes. We're talking about Activision, but yeah, if there's some sort of goal or maybe like some carrot, I might go for it. But I love the competitive Overwatch. Like the universe is cool. I like the story, and I want to play for the story. I probably want to play for powering up the characters that I like. Like I probably want to get a good leveled Reinhardt, a good level Ana, a good level Sombra. I think Sombra. I can't wait to see how Sombra is going to be turned into PVE. Um, but I can't see myself going through and playing like I don't give a shit about Roadhog. So like I don't see myself wanting to grind Roadhog. Like I see myself doing what I want for the characters I like. But beyond that, unless they release more levels, I'm going to be playing the competitive aspect.
Yeah, could you imagine if one of the things for Roadhog was ability to like mod his hook, where instead of just throwing out one, if there were like three, he could like throw out three hooks and like pull all of them at once?
It's a lasso instead of a hook.
Or yeah, like or
Yeah.
like it fucking goes around a group and like chains on itself, and then you can pull a whole bunch of them instead of just one.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking
So
cool.
I'm curious how they're going to change Roadhog because he is like kind of a basic character outside of hooking and healing himself.
I, I mean,
Yeah,
your
I don't
guess
know
is as
either.
good as mine.
An
Well,
AoE heal instead of
oh god, yeah. Instead of drinking it, he fucking throws it on the ground. If you have to like walk
yeah.
inside of it, yeah. Interesting.
I think and this is Blizzard's cup of tea, dude. They do WoW, they do Diablo. This is what they do. They do the PvE experience. So this is probably going to be top, one of the best games out there for this type of um place or not play style, but this type of game, like the abilities, PvE, whole waves of enemies.
I mean, we'll see.
That we'll find out.
Yeah.
Oh, Genji can throw his Dragon Blade.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, because that was the one thing that was like stopping me from playing Genji. It's like, well, I have this Dragon Blade, but what am I supposed to do with it? I gotta get close to them. Are you kidding me?
So it'll be cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'll check it out. Like I said, I'm interested more in Overwatch 2 than Overwatch. So
Oh yeah, you're a PvE player, so it makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah, for sure.
All right, that's all I got. What about you?
I think that's about it. It's been over an hour, give or take any editing. So you should probably call it a wrap on this one as well.
That's cool. Well, I've been Daniel.
And I've been Matthew, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Yep, laters.
Peace.